And if the current disparity and the obvious lack of quality education for all in this country and around the world is going to be alleviated, it seems that what each of you represent in one way or the other is not only individuals stepping forth with new models and passion and commitment, but also a new kind of collaboration between government, between NGOs, between religious organizations, corporations. I'd like to explore that a little further, Congressman, how the people look at the United States with all of its money and resources, and yet it's where we rank in terms of quality education for all. And they point to the overlapping of agencies and the lack of innovation, new models to address this disparity. How do you answer that, and where do you see the light, the hope?
Well, domestically, of course, our best students, those who go to Georgetown, are the best. I mean, they are as good as any in the world. It's the disparity that Wendy's talking about that Father is dealing with in his 20-some schools. But overseas, what we should be exporting is assistance, not imposition. We shouldn't be running the schools in these other countries, but we certainly can help. In the last, I guess since 2001, since Representative Nita Lowey became the ranking member of the Foreign Operations Appropriations Committee, we have gone from about $100 million in international educational aid to about $700 million. Mm-hmm. Her plan is to go to, this is per year, the plan is to go to $2 billion per year. And this is the Education for All legislation that she is promoting. That will go a long way to helping these other countries remove the fees, as Anne is talking about, and to put in place the local educational mm-hmm. systems. We can insist that it be, wherever we're giving money, that it be universal, that it be without fees, that there be a significant, I would argue, science component, because with science education you learn not just a democratic way of thinking. I mean, that's, evidence is more important than authority, and you learn so skills of analysis as well as a mentality mm-hmm. of deferred gratification and so forth. So we can talk about the importance of science education, but we don't impose it, or we shouldn't.
Right. But $2 billion certainly will help, won't it?
It certainly would help, and I think the odds are quite good that Representative Lowey will succeed in this.
And it'll put us in a much stronger leadership
yes.
role in terms of the education in the world. And Dina, the program that you established at Goldman Sachs is one of the best examples, it would seem, of this kind of collaboration. You got educational institutions to work with corporations, including Goldman Sachs, who was putting it together, to bring together with the social NGOs who were on the ground to identify the people. And this has turned out to be a solution. Why is it working? What is it about this model that works so well?
Well, I'll say what Wendy said, which is, you never want to declare success. You want to be very cautious about saying that we are extraordinarily proud of the anecdotal evidence, although I think that what the early results are so promising because of the collaboration. And I think that that's maybe one of the most important points to make, is that when you think about all of the social problems and wanting to make an impact in our own country, we have 10,000 women programming in our own country and around the world, and you look at what Anne looks at every day, and Wendy's itching to get more and more programming to change more and more lives as they do so extraordinarily, you can get overwhelmed. And I think that when you begin to look at what can you do, and we started to look at what is the small part that we could begin to invest in, and we saw that when you think about a girl's life There's an important life cycle. She does need to get educated as a young girl, but she also needs to then have some kind of link from that education to work. And of course, then eventually, building something that's her own and leaving a legacy behind. And I'll just highlight the one collaboration you mentioned in Liberia, where we were really honored to be approached by President Johnson Sirleaf in Liberia, who had worked really in an extraordinary way to get the world community to begin to make investments in Monrovia and throughout the country. And she, through working with OPIC, the Overseas Private Investment Corporation, got them to agree to create a $30 million loan facility that would give money out to women-owned businesses in Liberia. Again, a bit of above microfinance, women who may be hiring 5 to 10 other women. And the chairman of OPIC was so proud of it, but was also very humble a couple years into it when he said, we're not giving out loans fast enough. Because what's happening is the women are coming in with amazing ideas, showing passion and drive, but you can't go to a bank without a piece of paper. You can't go to a bank and say, trust me, I'm going to really do a good job. So they said, if you'd open a 10,000 women program in Monrovia, we would actually love to be one piece of the solution. So we would be investing in the education, and OPIC would give the capital, pre-qualify the women, if you will. And I think that that is something that is one example of many other opportunities for government, corporations, NGOs to begin to look at where's my piece, where can I make a difference, both in terms of the life cycle, so the girl becomes a woman, and there are many intervention points that all of us can work on, and more broadly than just women's empowerment, where can we work together to bring the resources to bear? And I want to say one other thing, if you don't mind. The media plays a very important role in this. And if Pat Mitchell weren't the favored person to moderate, she should be sitting here because as a panelist, because throughout her career at PBS, she, and after, has made such a commitment to highlighting this issue of girls and women's education and the work that PBS has done as another piece of NGO, corporations, government, and media to highlight it. She hates when I do this, but I do have to say the work in Sesame Street.
You're taking time.
I know.
Me as the moderator.
But I do think you're
Thank
one
you,
example of the media making an impact too.
Well, we did find out that if the media highlights a story, people pay attention.
That's right.
And this is one of the biggest challenges. It could be another whole panel about the fact that when you mention education to a person in the media, generally they go, don't think anybody will want to watch that. And that's so wrong, because there's nothing more of interest to all of us as parents and as citizens and as global citizens to care about. But it is a challenge to get those stories out, to cover the stories, and especially the good ones.